I was pregnant, which I
Mm.
acknowledge is a weird time to start a booze company, but I was messing around with low ABV and no ABV things that were akin to what I generally enjoyed drinking. So things that were a little more
Mm.
vegetal, yeasty, less sweet,
Mm.
not finding a lot of options. It was sort of at the front end of the huge NA boom. So now there are a lot
Mm.
more people in that space who are making really interesting things, but there just weren't that many. And so I had worked in hospitality for most of my life. I was at that time still working as the director of operations and cultural programming at White Hotel. And so I was having a lot of meetings where typically you'd have wine or, you'd connect with someone over a beverage. And I was
Mm.
having, sweet mocktails or drinking a lot of just seltzer and lime. And I found myself, having worked in kitchens for a long time and having that sort of general impulse to make things that satisfy what you're looking for. I started
Mm.
just trying things out on my own. And so I'm like in this DIY laboratory in my third floor walk up apartment in Brooklyn and remembering the flavor of fresh blackcurrants from when I was farming in France and kind of fell down a rabbit hole. I was like, what's up with blackcurrants in the US? Why are there no blackcurrant things?
Mm.
They're huge in Eastern and Western Europe. Like,
Mhm.
what's the deal? And it was approaching it from a different perspective and creating something
Mhm.
from this source material that was totally underutilized, underrepresented, and is like phenomenal. It's such a cool flavor. They're like meaty almost and like really savory and
Mm.
have this big complex acidity. And so it has all of these elements that are really interesting and like
Mhm.
not well sort of implemented in the beverage space in the
Mhm.
States. And even in some of the places where they are really huge, they're often covered with so much sugar. I think because people are sort of shying away from these
Mm.
qualities that I find really compelling about the fruit. And they're
Mm.
like, well, that might be a little weird. They can be kind of funky and musty and maybe,
Mhm.
the idea is that like the general population won't be into that. And I was
Mm.
like, no, let's lean in, baby. Like that's what's
Yeah.
cool about them.